Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business. No time for stress over bullshit. You think success is an option? I'm tryna get this shit poppin' like woo. Big moves, my rules. Y'all heavy on the tweeting. I'll disappear a whole season like woo. Who said they looking for me? I'ma make you.
Hey DeMarie TV family, so today we're going to be reviewing Ready to Love Season 9 Episode 7, Meet the Friends. Everything I say is alleged, just in my opinion, and it is for entertainment purposes only. So this episode is crazy to me. It starts off essentially, well, just let me back up. This season has a bunch of messy men in it. The men are messy. It's not the women. It's the men are messy as hell this season. So LaRon, who was paired with Koshia, who was voted off last week or the week before last, they have a lounge meeting with the men, and LaRon is upset because he says Will was a snake and he's gone, and now he has to get the other half of the snake out, which is Alexis. Now y'all know Alexis is one of my favorites on the show. I think she's super dope, really cool, whatever. But LaRon says Will and Alexis, he has copies of the text that they were, plotting to get Koshia off the show. But I'm sorry, LaRon, at the Pajama Jam, you were treating Koshia like crap. Okay? If you had been standing up and supporting Koshia during your meeting where you guys were deciding who to vote off, Koshia would have been there, but you was being foul. You weren't defending her, you weren't protecting her, you were treating her like crap at the party. Now here you come a day late and a dollar short talking about, oh, you standing and you riding for Koshia after she's off the show. If you had been voicing your like and your appreciation of Koshia in those meetings, you would have had other men who agreed with you, and Koshia's name would have been on nobody's radar. Will could have said what he wanted, but you could have defended and stood up for Koshia in that meeting and kept her there. You did not say a word. You were pissed and in your feelings about how Koshia was acting in your mind with other people, and so you let them sit there and plot on her in your face. Now you want to be her protector? Too late. Too little, too late for me. I can't do it. So now he comes in on a mission to defend Koshia and take out the woman who helped get her off the show. Alexis and Koshia did not like each other. That is very apparent. They had words. Koshia called her out her name, said, she could get up and slap her, all kinds of stuff. So Alexis does not like Koshia. That is very apparent. However, that does not mean that they were plotting to get her off the show. They did not like her. Your job as her love interest on this show was to defend her and say nice things about her and rise her up, push her up so that her name would not be anything on anybody's radar. Chaz would not have voted Koshia out. LaRon didn't have to vote Koshia out. Alonzo wouldn't have been even thinking about Koshia. She's not something on his mind, and Dominique wouldn't be thinking about Koshia in that way. So you let Will shape the minds of these people because you were mad and in your feelings about her being at a party and merely having a good time. So already this episode, I'm feeling some kind of way about it because I do not appreciate the fact that LaRon is now trying to come in and act like he's about Koshia when it was time for him to stand up and support her and protect her. He didn't do it. And to me, that tells me he ain't ready to love. If you were ready to love, you would have rolled for your chick in the right timing. You way late. You should have stood up for her when she was under attack, not after she's already been removed from the show. That's just my 2 cents, okay? I'm coming in hot. Now, Tommy gives the men a directive that he wants them to introduce the women to their friends, close friends. Of course, the idea is that your close friends know you best. they understand you, they know who you are, and that these people will be the best people to say who would be best for you, because they're looking at it from a different vantage point. They're looking at it as in who would be best for you, who would enrich your life, who would work best with your personality, your lifestyle, your situation at the time, and so I think this is going to be very revealing, because your friends know all your business, the good, the bad, the ugly. They know everything, and so it's going to be easy for them to see who will fit in good with you and who won't. So Will's the first one who brings in his friends, Troy and Rashandra, and they're going to be meeting 3, because Will says he has 3 people that he is interested in. The first that they're going to be meeting is Maya. They're meeting at a restaurant, and Maya's going to come in, have a conversation, break bread with them, and they're going to then give Will feedback on what they think about Maya. And as soon as they get in and start talking, they do what friends do. The girlfriend asked her, how do you do with long distance relationships? Because he's in the reserves and he may be pulled away sometimes. And how do you deal with that? Do you do good in long distance relationships? And she's like, we never talked about that. I didn't know that you leave sometimes. And so Will has obviously left out some pretty pertinent information when it comes to Maya, because these are things that she would need to know. If you're going to be having responsibilities to leave and maybe, stationed other places and have duties that take you away from Dallas, that's something that you should discuss with somebody that you're interested in. Why is it that she doesn't know that? When you're communicating on the phone, what are you guys talking about? Rashandra did say Will's picker was off, and that meant that she feels like he doesn't pick the right women, but it may not be that he's picking the wrong women. It may be like he's not an effective communicator, and he's not communicating about the right things when he gets the opportunity to spend time or talk to them on the phone. And they also asked about kids, of course, and so Maya expressed that she wants 2 kids. Well, Will already has 3 kids, and so that means they'd be a family of like 7. And they asked if she would be okay with that. And she said, yeah, she's always wanted a big family. And so she would be okay with having 2 children by Will. And he said he'd be okay having 2 additional kids. My question is, can he afford it? He's a comedian, and he's also, a reservist in the military. So those 2 things, if you're not a mainstream comedian, you're not making that kind of money. I would be interested to find out how much money Will makes, because it's probably just kind of a normal middle class, lower middle class salary that he's pulling in. I would say anywhere between maybe 50 to 60, hopefully, because the military doesn't pay you any money. And then how much does he make as a comedian? So I would be interested to see what his financial situation is, but nobody delves into that. But Maya is a successful person. She works in IT. I'm sure she makes more money than him, unless, he has money coming from a different source. I don't see how him being a comedian and him being the reserves in the military is going to bring in a ton of money for him. I don't see how that works. And so is a family of 7 really realistic? That would be my question. But overall, they seem to have had a good day. Their feedback is that they like her and they think that, they would be a good fit together. But they do have concerns as far as her being okay with him traveling for work if the reserves calls him to duty, and also with the amount of kids that they'll have together. So the next date is Justin is having his friend Kendrick meet his 2 interests, who is going to be Mika and Rashina. And so interesting, they're meeting at Kendrick's house, and which I thought, why aren't they meeting out or at Justin's house? But they're meeting at Kendrick's house. It's just Kendrick and Justin there, and it's a nice setup, but Justin introduces the ladies to Kendrick, and then they go have a seat, grab some food, and they start chatting it up. So he was asking Mika, how did you guys meet? How did y'all get together? And she was saying that what she really liked about Justin was, like, when she first met him, he was vulnerable. And Rashina then actually co-signed that, and she was like, I love a vulnerable man, and it's hard to find men who are vulnerable, and I need that in a relationship. And he kind of pointed a finger up like at her, and Mika rolled her eyes. And then the friend was like, well, you know, when you don't want to be bothered, what does that look like? And so Justin was saying that he goes on Do Not Disturb, and Mika was like, and I'm gonna hit notify anyway. And they kind of laughed about it, but Mika was saying like, it's hard for her to open up, but when she opens up, the man is vulnerable with her. It allows her to open up and let her walls down because she feels like they really see her. Again, the issue with Mika and the walls. Whoever gets with Mika is going to have to deal with whatever walls she's put up. And in order to do that, she's going to have to expose to you why those walls are there. And that's a whole nother layer to deal with. It just gives like you got to do a lot of work to get to the core of who Mika is. And so if somebody's up for that, then great. But if they're not, they should just pass on Mika, because it gives that it's a lot there. So Rashina, Justin's friend, asked Rashina, you know, where do you feel like Justin fares in all this? She said, now Justin's look, for me, it's the strongest look. And then Mika co-signed it. They was like, basically, they feel like Justin is the best looking man on the cast. And so he sits really well with them. I find it interesting when he asked, where does he stand? Where do you feel like he sits? They both went to the physical. Like these are mature adults. But they both still went directly towards the physical. And that could be why they're having such an issue finding love. If you're really talking about how people rank, it should be some characteristics about that person other than their physical that should be the number one thing that you are identifying that meets your needs. Physical is about attraction, but attraction is not going to maintain a relationship. It is not. That is going to come and that is going to go. It's very important that you have a physical attraction. It's very important that you all are, sexually compatible. But you want so much more. Do you have the same goals? What do you guys want out of life? It's like, does he make you laugh? Is he caring? Do you feel supported? Do you need a protector? Is he that for you? What's your love language? What's his? You got to figure out what it is going to work with you all in a relationship other than the physical. But that was kind of a red flag for me, because I was shocked that Rashina said that, because when they're on dates, you can clearly see the chemistry amongst them, but their conversation is good. I haven't seen a lot of his interaction with Mika as far as dates, but with Rashina, he's been on 2 dates and they seem to get along really well. So I was just shocked by her answer. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. But what I will say is the one thing that Justin and Mika have that I think it's going to be great, and with Rashina as well, is neither one of these women want to have kids again, and Justin says he's resolved with the fact that he's not going to have any. So he doesn't have kids. He would like to have some, but the fact that they already have kids and they don't want any more, he's okay with that, because he loves children. He's a PE teacher. He can assume that fatherly role with their existing children, and he will be okay with that, because he's the type of man that it doesn't have to be a blood, relative for him to care about kids. He naturally loves children. So I believe he would naturally fall into that fatherly role and be really good at it. And that's a plus for both of them. So Kendrick says that he thinks Rashina's open and committed, and he really likes that about her. He feels like, Mika, you have some walls to climb. Like, everybody picks up on the walls of Mika. So he said it'll be a little bit more difficult. But he did say, both of them are decent, good options. And, it's really his choice. For me, I would say Rashina. I just think Justin and Rashina are a better fit. So Chaz has 2 friends over to his house. One is Ruben, and I think the other is Denton. Don't hold me to it. But the first woman that comes over to meet his friends is Alexis. And they sit down and they're talking about the age difference. Of course, that's one of the main things that you recognize with Chaz and Alexis. There's a 15-year age difference between them. And she said that physically he looks great, for his age. And so she doesn't have a problem with it. I think the age gap thing is more about the physical. But I think the reason these people are on this show is they're totally consumed with physical, and they don't know how to do anything other than the physical. The age gap presents a lot more. It really doesn't present obstacles if you guys have things in common. If you like the same concerts, if you both like the same, extracurricular activities. Is he into art? Are you into art? Do you like the same music? Do you like to travel? Does he like to travel? Those are the type of things. Do you have things in common that you can do together in which age does not matter? If you have an age difference and he likes classical music and you over here at a rap concert, that don't work. So it's more than just age difference. Chaz has a massive home. It's his home. He's settled. She may or may not have a home. I'm not sure if she lives in an apartment or a house. But you know what? Do you want to move into his house, or do you want another place of your own? Like, these are things that I would be thinking about. And does he want children at his age? She's young. He's older. What's going on with that? I will be thinking about more than how he looks. It's just weird to me that every time someone asks these people, the first thing out of their mouths is a physical appearance thing. So they ask about kids, and of course Vanessa is saying that she has children, and Chaz wants kids, and Alexis wants kids. But then they ask about marriage, and Vanessa said she doesn't want to focus so much on getting married because she's been married before. She wants to focus on building the relationship, and that was a red flag for Chaz because he's ready to get married like right now. He does not want to continue dating. He's ready to go. And Alexis said she's ready to go. So the big decision that Chaz has to make is, who is he dating based on where they are and what they want? Vanessa is indicating she wants to build, she wants to date a little bit more and get to know somebody a little bit more. And I would suspect that's what she wants because she has children. She has to be careful who she marries because she's bringing them people into the world with her children. So she has to take a lot more time to vet Chaz and make sure he's a good person and that they are he's someone that she wants as a father figure around her kids. She's not only vetting him for her, she has to vet for her children. And Alexis asked, do you think he'd be a good disciplinarian? And he said, yeah, I think he'd be a good disciplinarian. Did Alexis ask that? Why did she ask that? Because she doesn't have children, but Vanessa does. So she doesn't know how Vanessa likes her kids disciplined. And so by them saying, oh yeah, he'll be a good disciplinarian, that will put a question in Vanessa's mind as to how, she has kids. So that was kind of messy in my opinion on Alexis's part. But overall, the friends see the benefit of him and Vanessa being together. Vanessa and him are calm. They're closer in age. Their dispositions are the same. They're real kind of positive vibe people. But on the flip side, Alexis is almost a clean slate. He can start with her, no kids, they can get married, they're both ready to go, they both want marriage. To me, that's an easier path for him to take. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide. The friends like him better with Vanessa. They feel like that's a better fit, but he's looking still to Alexis because she's ready to get married and she's ready to get married now. And Vanessa clearly wants to wait a little bit. Now, Alonzo meets with his friend India at Toast, and they're bringing Rashina and Patrice for his friend India to meet. Now, Rashina, I was surprised about because I don't see a big love connection between them at all. Like, they have fun together, they laugh, but that's Alonzo. He's a jokester. With Patrice, I do see the connection. It's just like great chemistry. So India is asking, what do you guys see in Alonzo? What do you like about Alonzo? And they did mention that he jokes a lot and that he's funny. Patrice, she was mentioning that Rashina mentioned that she does not want to have more kids. She will have children for the right person, but she really doesn't want to do that. He does not have kids and he wants kids. Patrice says, I will have more kids. I had my kids young. She has 3. She's like, but I'm willing to start over and have more kids. I've always wanted a huge family. I have no problem having more kids. So that's a plus for Patrice. And then they were talking about Alonzo and how Rashina was saying that he doesn't really, he has a good time, but she hasn't really seen him be, serious or the romantic side of him. And Patrice digs in her bra and pulls out a love note that he gave her. And that just makes him melt because it shows him that effort was appreciated and she holds it dear to her heart. So for me, it's a no-brainer on this one. It is Patrice. India said it's Patrice because Patrice, you can tell she's into it. She wants to be there with him. She's about him, and you can it's clear. So I think this was a really awesome date for Patrice to be introduced to India, and who's been friends with Alonzo for 12, 13 years. So she's a staple in his life. And I think it really well. I think it's going to be Patrice for Alonzo. Easy. So the next date is William. Now, William has 3 love interests. Troy and Rashandra already met Maya. So today, he's going to have them meet Patrice and Alexis. So Alexis comes in, she introduces herself. Patrice is a woman of a particular age. She's 42. She's seasoned. She knows how this goes. So of course, when coming to a woman's house, she brings her flowers. And Rashandra loved that. I think from the moment she walked in that house with that flowers for Rashandra, she had Rashandra sold. Plus she's older, and I think they can kind of relate to each other a little bit more. So William's friends asked both Alexis and, they put the question to Alexis, how do you feel about him doing comedy? And she said, well, she's a supportive person, whenever or for whatever. And Patrice cuts in and she said, well, look, I told him, look, I have a Sprinter. I drive celebrities around the city. And I told him, when they book you, you have them book me. You can get paid and I can get paid. And they love that. Patrice is just on. She's on. She's making sure no matter who she's with, who she's dating, she is winning. And it's so interesting to me. Individually, Alexis shined. But when you're looking at these friends and the friends are kind of looking at the women for the men, Alexis is not shining. And I'm not sure what's happening, but she's not winning the friends. She's not winning them over. Something's missing there, and she has not won one situation she's been in. And Alexis was a home run with the fellas, but none of the friends are picking her. And I'm trying to figure out why she's not as strong in a group setting as she is individually. So this day ended up with the couple absolutely loving Patrice. They feel like Patrice is a better fit for him. They like the fact that she'll support him in his career path, and they just think overall she's a better fit. So the next date is Dom, and he has Dominic, and he has a date with Vanessa. Now listen, based upon the show, I didn't even see that these two had that type of connection, but it looks like it could be pretty strong. So Dominic brings in his friend Mike, and his friend Mike is having dinner with Dominic and Vanessa. So on the date with Vanessa and Dom, she's saying to him, like, he was given a scenario where he was up at 3:00 in the morning on her Instagram page looking at her pictures, and he said he started to double tap it, but he didn't want to seem creepy. And she said, listen, I need you to be a little bit more creepy, like, if you are interested in me. Basically, she's saying, come get me because my arms are wide open. And he looked shocked. And she told him, like, he said, if this is the indication that you're giving me, blink. She said, I'm blinking. So Vanessa is just blatantly saying, listen, I want you. If you want me, come get it. Okay. I loved it. So needless to say, this date went really well. Mike liked her. She lets Dom know that she likes him. Now it's solely up to Dom. He just got to come on through and seal the deal. That's a wrap. So the next day is LaRon, and he comes with his friend King. And of course, he wants King to meet both Maya and Mika. Now, this is interesting because Mika was really cool with Koshia, and I know LaRon is still communicating with Koshia, even though she's off the show. So I'm not even sure how serious he is with regards to Mika, but both of them come, and King is asking them about, do they want kids? And of course, Mika says she has 2 kids. Her son is wild. She doesn't know how LaRon will be with kids because he's a hyena. He's always laughing and joking. and she needs someone who will be like a serious parent to her children. She doesn't want to be the bad parent and the other person is the fun parent. And of course, Maya doesn't have any kids, but she did say, I want kids. I want to have a family, and she's ready to get married. And so is LaRon. They also talked a little bit about LaRon's partying. Mika doesn't care. She doesn't care. She feels like LaRon is a party boy and he's not serious and he's not really ready for a relationship. Maya does not feel that way. She feels like he's doing what single people do, and she doesn't have any, bad feelings about the fact that he goes out, because she goes out as well. When you're single, you work from home, you go out as a release. That's your time to engage with adults. That's just the lifestyle. She's in tech, she's working at home, he's working at home. They need to get out in order to interact with other people, or they'll be hermits sitting at home all day. So at the end of this day, of course, he asked King what he thought, and King feels like Maya's the better fit, and so do I. No kids, she's single, she works from home, she's making a good living. The same thing as LaRon. I think LaRon and Maya would be a great fit for each other. But again, on the back end, there is Koshia. I don't know what's going on with LaRon and Koshia, so if he picks Maya, I would like to know kind of where Koshia fits into all that. So the men are back at the lounge with Tommy, and they're going through discussing their dates and who they took to meet their friends. And each person is going around talking about their date and updating Tommy on how it went. And essentially what happened is LaRon pointed out that he went back to the situation with Alexis and Will, and he said that they had to get out the snake. And surprisingly, Chaz co-signed it by saying Alexis brought up the situation on their date and he's just not for negativity, and that was a red flag for him. They also brought up Mika. They were saying again, Mika has her walls up. Mika doesn't want to have kids. So many other men want to have kids. And so for this group at this time, Mika and Alexis are the two that are kind of the least compatible with them. And so Tommy tells them, two of you have to go out on a date with these girls and one of them has to go. So it turns out Chaz and LaRon are taking the women out on dates. Chaz is taking out Mika. LaRon is taking out Alexis. Now, of course, LaRon and Alexis are kind of discussing in a roundabout way what happened. And Alexis just tells him, listen, I'm not someone who starts stuff, but I'm not going to be, a pushover. If somebody brings it to me, I'm not going to back off, because she's not afraid of confrontation. Chaz is trying to get Mika to see that the guys want her to open up, and Mika's like, no, she's not opening up to all these guys. She's not going to get involved with all of them and tell them, her business and waste her time if she doesn't feel like she wants a relationship with them. And she's only going to put forth effort with the people that she can see a relationship with. Well, Mika, turns out they still feel like she's ready for love. They're still going to keep working on Mika, and Alexis is out. Alexis leaves. I'm very shocked by that, because individually, so many of the men, Chaz included, was saying Alexis was like their top pick. But after meeting the friends, Alexis was none of the friends' top picks. So I don't know why the epic fell on the friend round, but she didn't do well, and now she's gone. So next week we'll see. This goes back to the women. We'll see who they choose. I have a feeling it'll be LaRon, because if Maya holds on to him, possibly, but I don't see LaRon having a major connection with a lot of people. So we'll see how it goes. Tell me what you guys think. Who do you think is going to end up in a couple situation? And who do you think is going to be left out hanging? They may think they're solid, but they're really not as solid as they think. Drop me some comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I post a new video. And I'll talk to you guys next week.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even if my feelings grind don't stop. Got big dreams.